we've got another VCR to look at. This one is, well, I don't have a service manual, but I found one online, so we can take a brief look at that to introduce it. This isn't the exact one, but similar enough. What I've got here is the National NV-G12, but I think mine's EA or not one of those versions. So this thing is very similar to the NV-G10 that we looked at in the last video, but the front panel changed again to make it more exciting. And I think the introduction doesn't tell you about features, which is strange because the previous VCRs, G7, G10 and other ones from earlier, they explained what exciting new features you get in this model, but they don't seem to do that in this manual. Don't know why, but there's a clue here. HQ high quality picture system and also the 1 month calendar timer. I think those are two new features that we get in the G12 over the G10. So the interesting one here is high quality picture system, which here according to Wikipedia means it adds 10 extra lines of horizontal resolution. So they must have increased the bandwidth of the recording and playback circuit, so you get a few extra lines, but otherwise unchanged and remains compatible with other, well, the standard VCRs, VHS VCRs. Let's start off with a look at the front and back of the machine, then we'll open it up, turn it on, see if we can get it to work, and then have a look around the mechanism. So it's pretty similar. They're all pretty similar, these G series. Well, up to a point, as we'll find out. Power, eject, normal transport controls. Now you can access the pause from the outside. You don't have to open the flap. The flap is no longer exciting and magnetic. It's got just a boring clip thing holding it. Oh, we can see there, look at that 14-day for program. That's not a month, is it? I guess my one's different. And super still, super fine, slow like before, but now HQ. And then under this cover, well, it looks like there's no slow motion button in here. So I guess you got to use the remote. I was looking for the remotes. It's been ages looking in the VCR room for a big box full of all the remotes, and I have no idea where it is. I couldn't find it, although I didn't dig very deep because the room is too full. I can barely get in there. Anyway, on this we've got the tuner setting thing for setting the channels of the tuner, then the clock setting and TV VTR selection. Tracking is now by these buttons, which is, I don't know if that's good or not. Does that mean it can do auto tracking? Probably not, just makes it more difficult to adjust, I guess. I guess that's one of the benefits of a more modern system. It's more difficult. Picture soft or sharp and time record, and then the one touch recording, channel selection, and again search, lock memory and reset for the counter. On the back here we see more lowering of quality and standards. We've now got RCA all around, no longer using BNC for the video input and output, which is a bit disappointing. Not really sure why they've done that. There's the RF bits and pieces there, and power cord. And that's it on the back. So let's take the top off this, see what's going on inside it. I saw there was a note on the bottom that it's missing the erase prevention tab switch, record prevention. So I guess I've already had a go at this, or someone else has. I actually have several of this model, but I guess I got rid of them earlier. What we find is it's again pretty similar to the other two previous VCRs, which you see in the previous two videos. Whoa. Yeah, this probably won't work, because that is, oh no, it's come right. Maybe. This time it does actually CD 4 head, it's not 3 head like before. All 4 head. Keep saying like before, I mean the previous video. Yeah, so this appears to have installed 4 heads. That's good. And the head switching part there is a different shape now. That's interesting. Guess that screw there's never been undone. It looks clean. Yeah, it's not coming undone either, is it? Yeah, watch out for that. For some reason these screws are always very tight. And now I've destroyed that one. Yeah, I think my screwdriver's ruined. That's very disappointing. Yeah, there's no way that's coming out now. Oh well. That's what I warned about in the last two videos, is being nice to that screw and making sure you use the right screwdriver, because otherwise you'll never get it out. And yeah, I've now proven that. Oh well, there you go. You can see how things can go wrong pretty easily. Anyway, let's power this up and see if it's going to do anything. The clock's come on. Power's on. Put in this tape husk to try it out. Oh yeah, because I guess we didn't look down there, the record prevention switch isn't there, so it will start playing immediately because that's part of its auto operation. Extremely light take up, so it's probably likely to chew a tape. No rewind there at all. Alright, let's just chuck a tape in there anyway, just for fun to see what's going on. Join up the video output. Now I have to use RCA plugs for that. And yeah, it's going to start playing automatically. That sounds wonderful. I wonder what's upset there. Well, that's no good, is it? I wonder what was upsetting it. There's something gone stiff in there. The pinch roller seems to be okay. Put this back in. I'm going to see, does this release? Yeah, back tension release is okay. Not sure then what it was upset about. Yeah, so we've probably got to clean that up a bit. Do it from the top if you're brave. And so there's a little spring down there that needs to be unhooked. Oops, now the split washer thing is lost down there. Okay. Now this is the problem. You see, that's gone very hard and smooth, so no grip. It's keeping all of the ones from previously dismantled VCRs, because I've been dismantling and scrapping VCRs for a very long time, 30 something years, just for fun, because people keep giving them to me and we rescue them when they're being thrown out. And so there are a few more of these that I've collected, and they're probably all ruined. Probably shouldn't be dropping that onto this while it's powered up. Yeah, so that one's gone really smooth, so it's probably a write-off. But yeah, some of these are even worse. They've just gone completely solid. So yeah, I think they're all ruined. That might be a go. Yeah, they're pretty all very hard, and smooth and cracked. At one point you could buy replacements of those. Also got all the back tension bands, although most of them are wrecked. There's a couple of the more, oh, that's not even one that belongs in this type of VCR. The newer type, all the ones that are from that woodwork in these National Panasonic ones, which is these ones, with that end, they're all gone because they were all peeled off. Anyway, we found, no, this one, that was the one that came from it, which might be in a better shape. It feels a little bit grippy. It's kind of stretchy still. So we'll put that in and see what it does. And just reattach that spring and put this guy back in to see how it fares. Let's put it into fast forward mode. Okay, I think that's worse. Okay, it has 0. Okay, so I guess you can't. Although, was it even attached properly? Maybe it wasn't in properly. No, it definitely wasn't that. Maybe the one that was in it was better. Hard to believe. I don't really have any hope for that, unfortunately. Try wiping it down with some isopropyl alcohol. It's not really a solution though, it's a... like, it might make it work for a little while, but it's not going to fix it. There is some chemicals, like rubber renew. I remember that from photocopier servicing. You could wipe that onto the rollers. I don't know whether it was, that's an official name or not, or whatever. The guy that told me about it and demonstrated it. Some kind of special juice that you just put onto a cloth, wipe it onto the rollers that pick up the paper in a photocopier. And remember photocopiers, analog photocopiers back in the day, and yeah, make them nice and grippy again. Never managed to get hold of some. Yeah, that would probably be a good thing in VCRs these days, to get the belts and rollers back in shape. I'm wondering if the problem with that squealing noise was the pinch roller here gone bad. Could have been. Wipe the edge of the reels as well, in case that's also dirty. And there is another roller that's in there, which is the one that drives this one, so we should wipe that as well. Okay, let's put that back in. And what was the other thing I was going to do? Oh, take off the pinch roller. They normally just fall off now because this plastic sleeve thing which holds it down, they've all cracked, so they don't grip like they did before. Oh yeah, see, that's gone quite smooth. Just as well, I've got a collection of those, although I'm pretty sure all the ones I've got will be equally as bad. I don't know, let's try this one. It does look a little bit nicer. I've forgotten about that box of tricks. The tricks in there are a bit worn out though. All that good stuff. Film containers, which had the screws from various things. Remember film containers? Back when people used to take photos on film. You keep the little containers. Use them for stuff. Storing your bits and bobs. Alright, let's see what this brings. Oh, look at that. Got some take up now, that's nice. And some rewind, great. Put the tape back in and see if it does anything. We're going to fast forward it first. Push stop so it doesn't go into play mode. Oh, look at that, wonderful. That is unfortunate. Yeah, so I guess we didn't get that lucky. Oh well, we'll just play it. I don't know why is it making that noise? I think what's happened is the back tension is doing that. because if I release the tension slightly, it will stop making the noise. And the picture is not too bad. Look at that. Just have this beautiful sound to listen to. That's good, look at that. Perfect picture. Perfect still. Wonderful. A good machine in perfect working order. Ish. Just as well we had some spare parts. I think this is a different one. I think that was the original one. Oh, that's nice. That's the best performing one we've had recently. And to think that the head drum was like frozen solid when I first like cracked that apart, and it sounded all scrapey, like it had the problem of the RF transformer windings have come unglued, but it seems to be okay now. Maybe it was just the bearings making a scraping noise as they woke up from a sleep. Right, what we're going to do is we'll take this thing apart more and just have a look over, and we'll have a look over the mechanism and electronics just to see what's going on, see if there's anything interesting there. And I'll take the bottom cover off, have a look what's under there, which I expect will be very similar to the G10. Just we should also check, was that board part number the same like it was between the G7 and the G10? It seems like there's more screws holding it down. Is that a new one? And notice it's got the IDC connector there on the power again, like we saw on the G10. YouTube's going to get angry about that picture there. Often does if there's a clear picture from a movie. They will get sad and want to block the video or not monetize it or something. So underneath we can see a similar sort of thing to before. I think it's pretty much exactly the same as in the G10 and G7 there. Loading motor, loading mechanism, capstan motor there with the open frame using the die-cast chassis to hold it all together, and then the belt to the reels, mode switch there, that interesting flex board, and head drum with the motor there at the bottom. And it doesn't mind running upside down, still got a great picture, perfect still, and presumably perfect slow motion if we had the remote to enable that. No idea what's happened to those, which is annoying. Ah, look, the wire, there's a connector there with no wire, and I think that's what would go to the erase prevention switch thing. I guess that, well, I don't know, I have no idea why that's missing. Can't remember. Maybe it got taken and put in another machine when I was getting another machine going. Front comes off. And similarly to what we've seen before, it's a two-board thing. I think this is very much like the G7's one, isn't it? It's probably the same, because the other one had, G10 had that extra IC and then LEDs to light up the buttons. So there is a footprint there for a slow switch. I wonder if we short that out with the tweezers, would it activate slow? Nope. It probably needs that diode there or some other parts, doesn't it? Another position for pause there. Yeah. So it does activate. Yeah. But I guess I was got grumpy with it. Maybe that slow is in the stop position in this case, because it's right next to it. I guess that extra diode needs to be fitted there. You can't even see what we're pointing at. Problem is I've got to pull the video cable out to tip it up because it sticks out too far back and I don't want to snap it off. Let's get the G7 guts, because I still haven't put those back together, and then we'll do some comparisons. Okay, G7 here, same front, Same front there. Everything's the same on that. And this board with the what do you call that thing? The clock and display on it. That's different. I don't know why. See that? Yeah, that's a capacitive little cap on it. So we also saw in the G10 that's not capped anymore. So yeah, those bits have moved. The clock oscillator parts. And yeah, of course, the buttons there are different, so that'll be why. It's a different layout. You see there's also a system switch, so I guess there's another version which has the C-Cam. Nah, this one, I don't know. Yeah, so maybe it's C-Cam PAL version, or it's an NTSC variants. Not sure. Yep, so I guess that, yeah, doesn't last long when you're just cleaning rollers to try and make them work. You see, it already is still chewing the tape. Power it off, and we'll take apart some bits and pieces. And lift up, and then, so I already undid the screws that were at the top here, red screws. Now we've got to do 2 screws at the back, and then this whole board's assembly can come out. Oh, we're going to do some clips there as well. Now let's take a look. We'll start munting the capacitor next to it. No, it doesn't want to come out. Okay, there we go. And the next one, and that clips up there. Alright, now, very hot bits and pieces here. Yeah, the heatsink gets pretty toasty. All of them do. Yeah, it's like a, that is a bigger version of a TO92 there. I've also got a heatsink kind of loosely attached to it. Yeah, we're going to see what is this main board, the same part number as what was in the other 2 machines. So it says there 6389. 6333. So no, it's a different board this time. Maybe new stuff got added for the HQ video processing. Maybe. So now you get access to all of the electronics for servicing, replacing, doing measurements and adjustments. The servo stuff down here and up on this board. Power supply section here at the front. System control part here with this big processor chip there. Then luminance, chrominance, the video section over here. And then the TV tuner and RF modulator stuff at the back corner there. And finally the mechanism, which I think again is going to be pretty much the same as the one we looked previous to. Seems just the number of video heads as what changes between these different models of G series. So that comes out. Now what I'm wondering, this is interesting. See, so you can pull that out, but you got to be careful because the stiffener on these ribbon cables is now old and it's probably going to crack off when you try and put it back together, and that's bad news because then the little contacts in that become bent and don't want to go back in the right place. So be careful. Yeah, so you need to calibrate the back tension by slightly loosening that screw, and then there's a little tool which you put into this hole down here and tweak it, and it will move this assembly back and forth to tighten it. And I think you put a gauge somewhere to do the measurement, but I think this is one that I have repaired. You can tell that because it's not even. Either I have or someone has. You can see at this side here, the left side, it's pushed down a bit, and the telltale thing that I noticed first is a little bit of glue squidged out over the top there. So I think this is one that I have glued back many years ago. I've had this machine many years, probably since the late 90s. Well, yes, definitely since the late 90s, because I remember it's like 3 house moves ago. That's back when there were 2 of them. I don't know what happened to the other one. So yeah, the little switch that goes into there to check whether the tape is right protected or not would be mounted on there. For some reason that's gone. And yeah, that would have plugged into, mounts there, plugs into the connector that's on the other side of the board soldered there, so that the signal can get onto there, up into this ribbon and off to the electronics. Yeah, so this is the reason for the squealing, because that's dirty and it's probably not sitting as flat as it would do if it was a proper one, not a like remanufactured by me one. And it might have been misattached, not in the right position, because I don't think I would have calibrated it properly. I would have just put it in and gone, yeah, that's probably good enough. The classic approach. I lost the split washer, don't know where that went. Fell into here somewhere. I'm sure it'll survive. You see, the screws weren't captive. Normally the screws that hold the tape loading mechanism, the screws are captive in it just because they're slightly not round, and it goes through this plastic part which will be sized to retain them. Didn't happen this time. Maybe this has been in and out so many times over the years that it's lost that ability. Get that clip thing back in. But there we go, that's a look at the National or Panasonic NV-G12 VCR VHS with HQ technology, I don't know, HQ standard, for a few extra lines, giving you a better picture for your culture and education. And this one was still in fairly good condition, working condition. It's just the usual things like the belts and rollers that are letting it down. Anyway, hopefully that was interesting, and see you next time for another exciting VCR. Yeah, there was a specific screw with a different head that went there, and that grounds the main board onto the mechanism. Well, grounds, connects. And if I put it back together now, then the job's done, isn't it? Not like the other two times where I just abandoned it in a heap of bits. Now there's a bunch of red screws holding this main board down. Just remember to get a new one of these number 2 JIS, because I think it's a bit far gone, as we discovered when I destroyed that thing. Man, that's annoying. I need to show how good things were when you use the JIS screwdrivers, but oh well. Get that back up without destroying the video head. There we go. Well, it's back up, but yeah, we might be able to tweak this by making it slightly tighter. Nah, it's too far gone, unfortunately. That's what happens if you don't use a good condition screwdriver. It's wrecked. Guess this is the after party, since I already closed off the video. I don't have any outtakes like technology connections. Probably because I'm not actually doing anything useful or saying anything useful that needs to be scripted. Little shield thing. Now I put the front panel back on. This one, I don't think there's any switches that you need to be aware of, because that is part of the PCB, so that just comes in. Good. Now the front's on. You can put the screw in this side, and then get the back panel. Not the back panel, the bottom panel. Interesting, there's a note on it that says servo support missing. Servo? Does that mean there's something that's supposed to hold the servo subboard thing? No idea. I wonder if I wrote that. Maybe, because yeah, there was another note there that peeled off, which was saying that the that record prevention tab thing was missing. Okay, we've got 3 more red screws left, and they'll be the 3 that go along the top of the panel. And then we've got the 2 screws from the cover, then we're done. There's a really steep angle on the thread there, so they just go right in. That's it. There you go. NV-G12 VCR. Look inside, explore it. We got it mostly working by replacing, or giving a poor man's approach at restoring the rollers, and taking a look inside. Good stuff. So I'll catch you next time for presumably a look in another VCR. We've got the G16 next, so look forward to that. It's pretty much exactly the same as this. Till next time.